It's a long way to the top. If you want to rock and roll, gonna rock and roll. Riding on the highway, going to a show. Stopping on the byway, playing rock and roll. Getting round, getting stoned, getting beat up, getting boned, getting high, getting shook. I tell you folks, it's harder than it looks. It's a long way to the top if you wanna rock and roll. It's a long way to the top if you wanna rock and roll. It's easy to do one night stands. Try being a rock and roll band. It's a long way to the top if you wanna rock and roll.
Good evening, race fans. I'm your host, Ken Reif, and welcome back to another installment of the 2007 season of the NASCAR Coca-Cola Cup Series. As the Cup Series makes their move to race number 32 out of 36. It's the final 5 races of this season as we head to Rockingham for the Pop Secret 400. Bit of short track high bank action here tonight as we take you to the racetrack for your starting lineup in today's race, as Kevin Harvick in the 20 car is going to start on pole today with Robbie Gordon and the 31 car to his outside on the front row. Moving down the rest of the order for today's race, as third place is going to be Greg Biffle in the 16 car, and Tony Stewart, a good qualifying here today for the championship runner-up. He's going to start today's race in 4th. Ryan Newman will start in the 5th position, and 6th place belongs to Carl Edwards in the 19 car. Elliott Sadler will be in the 7th spot, and Matt Kenseth will start this race in 8th. 9th goes to Dale Earnhardt Jr.'s number 88. And the 10th spot, that'll be Clint Boyer in the 4 car. 11th, that's going to be Casey Kane, and Juan Pablo Montoya will be in the 12th position. 13th, it's going to be Jeff Gordon's 24, with Brad Keselowski, last week's winner, in 14th. Scott Riggs is going to be in the 15th position, and John Andretti in 16th. 17th, it's going to be Bonley Labonte as Jason Leffler starts in the 18th spot. Casey Mears will be in 19th, and Marcos Ambrose rounds out the top 20. 21st is going to be Eric Norris in the 51. Kurt Busch starts 22nd. Boris Said will be P23, and Ricky Hendrick in the 24th position. Jimmy Johnson P25 with J.J. Yaley in 26th. DJ Kennington, the points leader, off to a rough qualifying. He'll start in the 27th spot, and 28th is going to be Morgan Shepherd. Johnny Sauter P29 with Todd Bodine in 30th. 31st is David Rudiman in the 07. and Jamie McMurray will be in 32nd place. 33rd is going to be TJ Bell, with Scott Wimmer in the 34th spot. Jeremy Mayfield will be P35, and Martin Truex Jr. in the 36th spot. Jack Sprague will be 37th, Casey Atwood in the 38th position. 39th goes to Kyle Busch. Brian Keselowski will start this race in 40th. And rounding out the field in the back row, Jeff Burton's number 8 car, and Jacques Villeneuve in the 49. That is your 42-car field for the Pop Secret 400. And we take you to the racetrack for the most famous words in motorsports, the command here from Rockingham.
Drivers, start your engines.
Field Roars to life as we get set to go. Kevin Harvick in the 20 car going to lead us off from the pole here today. Always a fun one here at Rockingham, of course. This racetrack, a lot of spills and thrills, a lot of tight racing, a lot of tire wear. This place is hard on the rubber. We mentioned that at a lot of racetracks on this calendar, of course. These cars are heavy and fast, but Rockingham is one of the biggest cheese grating racetracks of rubber from these Goodyear tires on the calendar. It's going to be important for these guys on tire and pit stop strategy here today, but that is only going to be a question of if we go green, of course. Rockingham, a very aggressive racetrack. We see these guys get racy early, and it is going to be a fun one to watch right in the crux of the championship battles. We enter today. DJ Kennington holds a 147-point lead over Tony Stewart on the championship, but the 42 car is going to start today off on the right foot as Kennington did not have a great qualifying. Pace car out on the left, Harvick and Robbie Gordon, pair of Chevrolets on the front row. Green flag is going to wave, and we are underway here from Rockingham. Harvick up to speed off of 4. Good start from the 16 of Biffle, who is right on his back bumper, challenging for the race lead. Not quite able to put the nose underneath of that 20 car for the first position off the opening lap. Not a great start for Tony Stewart, who is now finally maybe going to find a chance to the bottom here. See if Keselowski plays nice with this 42. He does not. So Stewart really dropping backwards in a hurry since the start of this race. Is already outside the top 10 now, and still losing position since the start. So, as we get settled in up front here, Kevin Harvick in the 20 car has taken away the race lead. Been a solid season for this 20 of Harvick. Nothing to write home about after his very impressive first year driving the Joe Gibbs number 20, in which he was in the top 5 in the standings last year in 2006. This year, 8th in the Cup Series standings. Just a single win this season came at Richmond earlier in the year. Having yet another competitive campaign amidst that 20 team. We're undergoing some changes next year, not pertaining to the driver, of course. Harvick's still under contract with Gibbs, signed an extension this year, but Harvick is going to be driving with a new sponsor on the hood of that 20 car next season, since Home Depot took over on that 20 car. Not going to be the sponsor for the first time in almost 10 years over that 20 team, as Harvick is going to be sponsored by Busch Light, who were previously the sponsor of the 44 Hendrick team that has since closed operations over the course of this season. So a new look for that number 20 car going into next year. Greg Biffle right behind him in the second position. It's a case of not a lot of changes for Biffle in that 16 team. We're looking to stay the same as they always have been. Going fourth, another pretty good run to start here today in qualifying. Moves into the second position off the start. Newman, who's had another competitive campaign, still without a win yet at his new team. Still in the top 10 in points. He is exactly 10th coming into today. Has no wins to his name. And also has the least amount of top 10s over the course of the season of the top 10 drivers. Has exactly 10 of them this year, but has been very competitive at points. Just still trying to search for that first win in the 2007 season. He's running out of chances to do it. Has looked competitive this year. Sadler and Kane, a couple of Pontiacs, round out the rest of this top 5, though. Jeff Gordon in the 24 car, winner of the spring race at this racetrack, looking to try and take away a top 5 running spot. He's going to do exactly that, as Scott Riggs in the 57 looking a little competitive here today. Road Atlanta winner earlier this season. Finds his way up towards the top of the table, fighting with Casey Kane for 6th now, as he has found himself running very competitive in today's race. Another run we'd like to shout out is Eric Norris in the 51, off to a good start since qualifying. Now running in the 11th position in the 51 car, has had a great final third to this season so far. And DJ Kennington as you just saw, has absolutely rocketed through the field. He is now into the 18th position, and you might have noticed it. He is already just less than 10 laps into this race in front of the 42 of Tony Stewart, who has plummeted to the 22nd position since the opening of this race and is still losing spots. Real rough go-around for him and the outside pole sitter Robbie Gordon, who has fallen to 21st. Kennington nearing the top 15, and we have yet to complete 10 laps in this race. Biffle still knocking at the door of Kevin Harvick with the race lead. Yet to see a lead change here at Rockingham, but he is right on the back bumper of that 20. Still piling the pressure on him for the first position. Hasn't yet taken away that top spot. Newman still lurking in third. You see Jeff Gordon, who has looked very competitive here in tonight's race, finds his way into that 5th position a couple laps earlier, has been right on the back bumper of Elliott Sadler since he had taken away that 5th spot. Not quite able to make a move on him yet. A lot of single file up front at the moment. Stewart still trying to fend off fellow Dodge of Kyle Busch in the 43 car for what is the 21st spot at the moment. Busch once again underneath of him. And Kyle Busch takes away 21st, so Stewart now down to the 22nd position. And of course, as qualifying would note, he has already lost 18 spots in today's race. Meanwhile, Kennington, from the 27th position, has made up now 12. Looking to make up more as he's battling with Marcos Ambrose. Another good run for this 13 car, who has really been competitive lately. Had a great run at Martinsville. Fighting with him for 14th at the moment. And he is going to find a way right around that 13. So now 14th for Kennington. Make that 13 positions made up by the 81 car since the opening lap of this race. Biffle still unable to make anything happen with the leader Kevin Harvick. Jeff Gordon, meanwhile, side by side with Elliott Sadler, as you mentioned, behind that 83 for a handful of laps, and he is now going to complete that move on the 83 car for the 4th position. And Jeff Gordon finds his way into P4. Sadler not backing down just yet, and of course Scott Riggs in the 57, who has brought himself a great DLP forward to today's race, is also looking mighty fast in the 6th position right now. Jeff Gordon, I would say this 24, probably looking like the best car in the top 5 at the moment. He's got a lot of headway to make. It's not an easy track to pass at Rockingham, as we've seen over the course of this race so far, but Gordon making some strong headway since we went green. Biffle still putting pressure on Harvick for first. Harvick trying to cover the bottom as they head towards turn number 3 this time, and once again, I think the biggest point here is that 20 car has really just beat Biffle on exit pretty much every chance he's gotten. Hasn't allowed Biffle to be able to get underneath and pull underneath on a straightaway and make his presence known. So Harvick has continued to cover him off for the lead. With the way things are going, Biffle's starting to drop off over the last lap and a half or so. Newman is starting to get bigger in that 16 car's mirror right now. Might have a chance to sneak into 2nd place. Stewart still struggling to make any headway right now. Still in the 22nd position, hasn't lost any spots, but has continued to lose time. Stuck behind the 43 of Kyle Busch, who just passed him for that 21st spot a handful of laps ago. And And as you can see, this gap between this 54, the teammate of Kyle Busch, and then that 43, seems like Busch and Stewart are a little bit off the pace right now, though. With how hard Stewart is sitting on the back bumper of that 43 car right now, you would have to imagine that he is a bit faster than Kyle Busch at the moment, and definitely got caught out by starting this race on the outside lane. But still nothing doing for Tony Stewart. Kennington continuing to move forward. He's in the 13th spot now. Looking like he might find his way into the top 10 before this green flag run and this first fuel run is even over. Trying to find a way underneath his teammate Carl Edwards. Couldn't quite do it there going into turn 3. Newman still putting the pressure on Greg Biffle for the second spot, as the 16 has been unable to stay with the 20 of Harvick for the lead. Newman trying to run a little higher, get a run on this 16 car, and find a way around him for the second position here on the front stretch. Still just not quite able to find a way around that 16 car, who continues to hold steadfast in second. Gordon seems to have stalled out a little bit in the fourth position. As mentioned, thought he was probably the best car in the top 5, at least on the short run, but pace seeming to equal out just a bit. Has ran some of a gap on Elliott Sadler, who's still in the 5th spot in that 83 car, but not quite pulled away from him up to this point in the run. Lap number 25 for your race leader, Kevin Harvick, out of 110 here tonight. Biffle found some speed those last couple of laps, pulled back up to the back bumper of Harvick, but Harvick forces him to run a little higher, and Biffle not with quite enough of a run on that outside to make anything happen yet. Still no passes for the lead in tonight's race. Harvick has led every single one of the 25 completed laps so far, not without a challenge. Biffle's been on his back bumper pretty much this entire time. Still trying to find a different line to get up to Harvick here for the lead, and this time on the front stretch, he is right there, but still not quite able to poke the nose and get underneath of Harvick. 20 car is doing a great job of covering that bottom lane. And that's pulling Newman into this battle to make it a 3-horse race just a little bit, although Newman might have overdrove there in turn 3 just a little bit. Lead still unchanged. Kennington, maybe a little bit of a problem for that 81 car. And yes, it appears he got stuck on the outside. As we mentioned, the outside is not really the place you want to be in tonight's race, and he fell from 13th all the way to the 19th position, so Kennington back down a ways. Neither of our championship leaders having a great event right now. Stewart in 23rd as he lost a spot to J.J. Yaley's number 10. But still, it is Kennington ahead of Tony Stewart at the moment. Those are your two championship leaders at the moment. And of course, as we mentioned a handful of times, Jeff Gordon over the course of this season has just been on the outside looking in of this title battle. Currently sits 351 points out of it, so with 5 races to go, Gordon is almost assuredly out of this championship fight. But with the 81 and the 42 struggling to stay in the top 20 right now, Gordon is looking pretty good at the moment. And in the 4th position with another competitive car at Rockingham. It's looking like things could turn out 24 at the moment, but he's got a long mountain to climb if he wants to get back into this championship battle. And to be quite frank, it's kind of being ambitious, even suggesting that Gordon could get into this championship fight this year. It's possible. We've seen how good this 24 has been over the last handful of races. He's been in the top 5, I believe at least 5 out of the last 7 events. And it has been a fantastic final third of this 2007 season for Jeff Gordon. But Once again, he has a long, long mountain to climb if he wants to get into this championship battle, and I just think it'd be too steep for even the sport's best to be able to do it. Biffle just lost the second position this last lap to the 38 of Ryan Newman, who has moved into the runner-up position as Biffle caught out just a little bit. Tried to make a move to the outside of Harvick for the race lead, but it was to no avail and ended up falling into the marbles, and Harvick retains first, Newman to second, as we have a couple cars on pit road. Looking like we have our first pit stops of tonight's race. Eric Norris is in, and Kevin Harvick is going to be the first taker of the leaders, as a 20 is going to try to cover off the undercut from Greg Biffle's number 16, who comes in with him. Rockingham usually has a tricky pit road, so we'll see if anybody gets involved in any incidents. Newman stays out to take the lead. But we'll bring it to pit lane on lap number 34. Jeff Gordon is going to come in as well. And you'll see the rest of the remaining top 10 enter pit road this time. Four tires and fuel for Kevin Harvick. And he is off the jack and away. A great stop for your race leader. Kennington elected to stay out an extra time. So the 81 going a little long. I do believe Stewart was on pit road. So Kennington trying a little bit of long game here at Rockingham. And he's going to come in on lap number 35. Robbie Gordon is going to stay out another time and take away the race lead for the moment. There you see Tony Stewart in the 42 car on pit road here, lap number 35 for him. Four tires and fuel, and Stewart is away without issues, so no problem on pit road for the championship runner-up as he gets off the pit lane. Meanwhile, get a look at DJ Kennington, who is now on pit road. Seems to be a clean stop for the 81 team. Four tires and fuel, and Kennington is away. So the 81 leaves the pits. You see Kenseth and Robbie Gordon playing a little bit of fuel game here, potentially. As neither Gordon nor Kenseth have yet to pit. Only a handful of drivers have done so. And I do believe it is just the 31 and the 17 who have yet to bring it down pit road. Harvick and Greg Biffle close for what should be the net race lead, and Biffle taking advantage of some traffic in the form of Clint Boyer, who has had a rough go-around in the first green run of this race, down to 40th from a top 10 starting spot. But Biffle should be the net race leader once the 17 and the 31 come down pit road, which once again, neither of them have done so. Well, looking like that is going to change this time. So lap number 39 is the final pit lap for Robbie Gordon and Matt Kenseth. These guys lost a lot of time on the racetrack by staying out on those old tires. But playing a little bit of fuel game here, but didn't end up catching a caution or anything that might have helped them out. And Jeff Gordon has damage. So looking like an incident of some kind on pit road here. Yeah, it was involving the 23 of Scott Wimmer. So Jeff Gordon, who we mentioned was a contender up front here today, and we're talking about the fact that this might be his last chance to get back into this title mix. We talked about Rockingham pit road being dangerous, and Gordon appears to have been taken out of this race. Kenseth on pit road with Robbie Gordon. And these two going to lose the race lead as Greg Biffle in the 16 car, taking nice advantage of the traffic here, is going to be your race leader on lap number 41. I want to go back and take a look here at what lap these guys ended up coming in. It was lap number 33 for Biffle and Harvick, the two race leaders right now. And as you saw there, Robbie Gordon and Matt Kenseth leaving pit road well behind. Gordon in the 24 is going to rejoin the racetrack a handful of laps down. And Andretti's number 21 also was several laps down. I do believe he had a tire issue of some kind. And he was forced to stop on the racetrack, as a matter of fact, so that is going to result in the first caution flag of today's race. After the pit cycle has already been completed. So caution comes out, lap number 43 for John Andretti with a tire issue. Saw the 08 of Johnny Sauter also duck down pit road with some tire problems there, right as the yellow flag came out. So caution flies. Lap number 44 for the race leader, Greg Biffle. '89 of Morgan Shepherd will receive Lucky Dog here, and would imagine most of the leaders would probably want to pit for another set of tires here, but will be interesting to see if anybody elects to stay out. All the cars who are currently staying out are lap traffic, and looking like the whole field is going to bring it down pit road. So pit stops for the leaders. Harvick and Biffle down pit road here, lap number 45 for another round of tires. Be interesting to see if any of the lap cars who stayed out an extra time are going to elect to come down pit road and sacrifice getting one of their laps back here. 4 tires and fuel for the field, it's looking like. Has Greg Biffle off of the jack and away. So the 16 holds the lead off of pit road. Lap number 45 here from Rockingham, as Greg Biffle in the 16 car is going to be your race leader here from Rockingham. And we take you to intermission. It's the Pop Secret 400 here on NASCAR and ESPN, and we will be right back. Back from intermission here at Rockingham as we get set to go green. It'll be lap number 48 for the race leader, Greg Biffle, who holds the first position. Handful of cars waved around there as Robbie Gordon and Matt Kenseth did end up back on the lead lap. 89 of Morgan Shepherd, as mentioned, was the lucky dog. Kevin Harvick in the number 20 restarts in second, led the early portion of this race. But Greg Biffle with a masterful move takes away that top spot after trailing him by just a couple car lengths, or pretty much the entirety of the length of this race. Ryan Newman in the third position in the 38, been a member of this top 5 all night long. It's Elliott Sadler in fourth in the 83, and Casey Mears finds himself in fifth, and a little bit of damage on Riggs, who's been competitive today, but appears to have gotten involved in an incident in pit road. He restarts in the 6th spot. Pace car going to peel off on the left here. Update on your 2 championship leaders is Stewart is going to restart in 22nd, and DJ Kennington, a bit of issues in terms of pit stop length, ends up in 24th. Coming to the restart box, green flag is in the air, and a great start for Greg Biffle in the 16, who leads the field off into turn number 1. Here's a masterful move there on Elliott Sadler there out of turn number 4 to move into the 4th position. Scott Riggs in the 57. They move back into the top 5 despite the damage to the left side of his race car, and Sadler starts to drop backwards. Back up to speed now as Biffle starting to run away from Harvick in that 20 just a little bit. Right as I say that, Harvick trying to prove me wrong. Drove it off into turn number 3 there to try and make up some time, putting some wheel into it. Biffle and Harvick, who have been first and second this entire race since the initial lap was completed. Looking competitive here tonight, and Casey Mears in that 55, who, excuse me, blew up from the race lead early in the running, or at least, actually, excuse me, later in the running. It was Biffle who blew up from the lead early at Martinsville, and then Casey Mears, who has been chasing his first career win this season as a rookie in the Cup Series, blew up from the lead late in that race. Caused a big pileup on the backstretch that caused some issues for a lot of guys. Finds his way into the top 5 for the 2nd consecutive week. So Mears showing some strength here tonight. Up with the big boys as it's Newman, Harvick, and Biffle, 3 hard-grizzled veterans of the top echelon of the Cup Series. Running up front here right now, I believe Casey Kane took away that 5th spot from the 57 of Riggs. Yes, he did. So Casey Kane moves into the top 5. Still a 3-horse race up front right now. Mears off just a little bit from this top 3. As we're starting to close up on halfway here from Rockingham. Harvick again. We've seen so much of this. Getting defensive at the bottom lane, but Newman's not going to buy it, and the 38 is going to force Harvick up the road. And he takes away the 2nd spot. Couple of Fords up front. And we've seen how many times Ryan Newman has been the bridesmaid over the course of this 2007 season. You think back to Pocono, you think back to Calder. Times that Newman has been so close to his first win with that new Yates organization that he has joined this season, or last offseason going into this season in free agency. And once again, it's the 2nd position for the 38. But the question now becomes if he can run down that 16, but Biffle really seems to be strong, and not a surprise if you've been watching him sit behind that 20 all night long. He might just very well have the car to beat here at Rockingham. Mears up the back bumper of the 20 now. Harvick starting to fade just a little bit in this secondary run. It's Kane, Busch, Riggs, Norris, Labonte, and Edwards. See, Boris said in the 11th position, would like to shout out that number 60 car, as Boris said, came here a year or 2 ago, led a lot of laps in this race. One of the most competitive runs we've seen out of that Haas team in their entire existence, and see some tire marks there on the front stretch going towards pit road. Would like to get an explanation for what happened here. Ooh, appears to be some contact with Scott Wimmer. Yeah, got turned. Man, that was close as Wimmer got spun down pit road. Lost a ton of spots and clearly has probably been tagged for speeding on pit road there since he got spun down the pit lane. Yeah, really rough break there for that 23 car. Was already involved with Jeff Gordon. That incident on pit road has had salvaged at least 23rd at the moment. But yeah, appears to have been an incident involving the 00 car of Leffler. Wimmer maybe cutting him down just a little bit, and man, that could have been bad. Almost hit the pit wall, but Wimmer forced to take a pit stop after being spun down the pit lane, so he rejoins the racetrack a lap down. And Kevin Harvick has taken back the 2nd position from Ryan Newman. But Biffle in that 16, while these two have kind of nipped at each other's ankles for that 2nd position, has started to run away just a little bit in the 1st spot. Newman still putting the pressure on the 20 of Harvick. These guys not giving up on each other just yet. Just past halfway here in Rockingham. Greg Biffle in the 16 car is your race leader at the moment here in the Pop Secret 400. Let's take you to a little bit of engines and nothing else here. Shut my trap for a bit. It's NASCAR and ESPN, and we'll take you to crank it up. I was on board the McDonald's Visor Cam with Carl Edwards in the 19 car, proving just how deadly that outside can be if you get stuck up there, as he falls down to the, I believe, somewhere around the 14th spot. That is correct. Behind Tony Stewart. Number 42 car has started to come alive on this run, and he is inside the top 15. You also saw Boris Said making some moves into the 60 as he moved into the top 10 past Edwards. Big pack of race cars back here getting racy. And meanwhile, for the 81 of Kennington, who looked real strong early, has started to fall backwards again. He's in the 22nd spot behind his teammate Labonte right now. But Stewart has picked up some valuable positions here right past the halfway mark in this race. And once again finds himself in a good spot, but he's going to have to hold on to it if he wants to make up some vital points in this 2007 Cup Championship. 4-horse race for the race lead up front right now as Biffle started to tail off towards the back end of this run. Casey Mears has moved past Kevin Harvick for the 3rd spot, and Newman for 2nd, as the 55 really just kind of blowing the doors off of everyone's expectations in today's race, has found his way into the top 3 and is within a shot at this race lead. And you're late enough into the point of this race where you can start thinking about this thing being in contention for the win. Kane and Riggs, also members of this top group as well, as the 12 in 5th, and Riggs, no worse for wear despite the damage, in the 6th position in the 57 car. 40 laps to go is the count here from the Pop Secret 400 as Biffle continues to sit up front. But Newman, in that fellow Ford, who has been the bridesmaid so many times this year, right on his tail. Top four separated by only about a second. Kane still a member of this group as well. Kurt Busch in 7th has started to slowly close up here. And you see Tony Stewart there, who's made a couple of well-timed moves in that 42, has now put himself into 11th, and he's behind the 2 of Keselowski for a shot in the top 10. If you're Tony Stewart with Jimmy Johnson, the 48, right up your rear bumper, you do not want to give up that inside lane. He almost did there coming out of turn 4, but Johnson couldn't quite find the front end grip to put his nose underneath of that 42 car. So Stewart in 11th. About 10 spots better than that 81 right now, but Kennington has started to pick off some people and get back towards the position he was running in earlier. Johnson gets underneath of Stewart, trying to move him back into 12th. And we're seeing pit stops. It was Matt Kenseth in the 17 car, who was already one of the drivers on the alternative strategy with Robbie Gordon. Both those two stayed out to get their laps back under the last yellow flag. So Kenseth comes in early. Was about 35 to go, so they should definitely have enough fuel to make it. Harvick has fallen now to the 5th position as Casey Kane in the 12 has picked up another spot, moved into 4th. To look now, Mears getting a little aggressive here with Ryan Newman in the 38, trying to find a way low for the 2nd position here. Newman does a great job covering him off. No move from Mears. Kenseth on fresh tires. Now a member of this party here. And Mears thought he might pit. Never mind. It was a lap car, Jeff Gordon, the 24, who was damaged over the course of this race, bringing it down pit road early. Very close there between the 55 and the 17 as Kenseth trying to slip by on the fresher tires, and he does exactly that. That opens the door for Riggs to make up some positions here in the 57. He's trying to move into this 3rd spot, and Newman, I think he might have been planning to pit there, but Kenseth got under him. And that kept the 38 off of pit road. I do believe he was going to try to pit there. Not sure, though. But Biffle has gained a lot of time on the rest of the front of the field. Kenseth going to get underneath of his teammate and blow right on past him on the fresher tires. And there you see the first taker in the top 6. It's Kevin Harvick in the 20, taking Kurt Busch with him, trying to shortcut the rest of the field here. As a battle for the win, coming to 30 to go, is now on. Let's see if Biffle responds. Looking like he's going to. Hand out the window. And he is bringing it down pit road. So Biffle comes in. Newman, Riggs, Kane, and Mears, all of the top 5. Down pit road on lap number 80. Earnhardt Jr. and Boris Said down pit road as well. You see Stewart comes in. Kennington as well. And here comes the money stop. One of the most important spots in tonight's race. Mears, 4 tires and fuel, out and away. And contact for Kennington with the 89 of Morgan Shepherd bringing it onto pit road. Was light contact, but still a detriment to Kennington. Gotta hope that there's no damage on the powertrain of his race car. Lot of a holdup for Kane and Riggs. Newman and Biffle are already well off of pit road. Harvick is not going to leapfrog this 38 unless he can get by him on the cold tires. But no, Kurt Busch instead is going to duck underneath of Harvick and move him out of the way for a position. Riggs and Kane well out of it. Believe Mears even further. Real rough pit stop for that 55 car. Believe he got held by a lot of traffic. So we'll get you an update on Kennington and Stewart as soon as we can. There you see DJ Kennington, who has rejoined the racetrack from pit lane. And Tony Stewart well in front of him by about 5 spots. Up front for the race lead, Harvick and Kurt Busch have gotten past the 38. Biffle dealing with some pesky lap traffic. TJ Bell really not playing Biffle any favors, and here comes Kurt Busch to try to take the lead. Bell really playing a game there with the 16, and Kurt Busch is going to steal the lead from the 16 car. Harvick to second. Tried to show the nose going into 3, this 26, really being a bit of a nuisance. Busch is going to dispose of him here on the front stretch. So Kurt Busch with the undercut along with Kevin Harvick pulls him into the mix for the lead from the 7th position. Biffle and Newman on slightly fresher tires, though, and that is a big difference at this racetrack. We'll see if they've got the better stuff. But here comes Harvick for the lead. Side by side down the front stretch with 25 laps to go here from Rockingham. Busch trying to power on the outside in turns 1 and 2. Even playing field, run for Busch into turn 3. Does he clear? He does! What a masterful piece of defense. Buddy overdrove the corner. And Harvick stays with him. And the 20 car takes the lead back. Biffle trying to regain that 2nd position, and he is going to do just that. Four-car race for the lead. Harvick with a great lap that last time by, runs away from the 16 of Biffle. As him and Newman were busy disposing of Kurt Busch, they move into 2nd and 3rd. Biffle already a winner this year. Came well back in the season. His only win of the year coming at Portland. That was nearly 20 races ago for the 16 team. As Biffle and Harvick, the 2 dominant cars of today's race, find themselves up front. But it might not be just a tango between these two. We see the 38 of Newman still lurking in that 3rd position with a shot, and still 21 laps remaining. Biffle, good run out of turn 2. Not close enough to make the move on Harvick for the lead. Gotta try and set him up, you would have to think, for turn 3. That's the spot where the top is at its worst. 20 to go here from Rockingham. Biffle in the 16. Harvick the 20. Newman the 38. All within a shouting chance of winning this race. Harvick with the best shot out front. Biffle, who's been chasing his heels for the majority of this race, trying to snap victory from the undercut. But Harvick's got a buffer. Biffle and Newman trying to hang with the 20. They've got the theoretically better tires. But does Harvick just have the better stuff towards the end of this race? Their rubber is going to be shot before this thing is over. Almost a full fuel run to end this race. Biffle, a great run through turns 3 and 4. Closes up to the back bumper of Harvick for the lead. Didn't get the exit he wanted, but closed that gap again. Newman drops out of frame just a little bit from the 3rd position. Traffic ahead for the leaders. Could play a factor, just like it would have in Martinsville. Harvick a little bit high coming out of turn 4. Biffle closes the gap. but still not close enough to make the move, and Harvick had a fantastic run through turns 1 and 2 that time. Kurt Busch isn't out of it in 4th either, if anything were to happen to the leaders. Biffle maybe starting to come apart a little bit, watching Harvick get smaller in the windshield. That allows Newman to put the pressure on Biffle. He's done this once before earlier in this race. But you have to imagine if Newman wants to get Biffle and have a shot at Harvick for the win, he's got to make this move now. And Biffle's got to catch Harvick now if he wants a shot to win this race himself. And there you see Scott Wimmer, the latest pitter on the racetrack, on fresher tires than the leaders, running everybody down and picking them off one by one, trying to make his work quick. Well, traffic continuing to get bigger out of the windshield of Kevin Harvick's number 20. And they definitely will play a factor by this point. It's going to be who navigates the lap traffic the best inside the final 10 laps of this race. Harvick, Biffle, Newman or Kurt Busch, the top 4. Fifth place currently belonging to Kane, but he's a long way out of it. Biffle up to the back bumper of Harvick, who has caught Morgan Shepherd here out of turn 2. And now the game begins. First lap car is dealt with ease. You see Wimmer has gotten past the 38 of Ryan Newman and is now closed up to the top 2, who are currently deadlocked for the race lead. Biffle gave a look on Harvick going towards turn 3, wasn't close enough to make the move, but now in turns 3 and 4, Biffle underneath of Harvick, out of turn 4, the 16 has regained the first position. Right away, Wimmer moves past Harvick. The 23 on fresher tires. He is a lap car. Biffle probably wants to deal with him quick and get him out of the way. And he absolutely would not want to get stuck on the outside where Harvick could retake the first spot. Inside 10 to go. It's now 9 laps left here from Rockingham, as Biffle on the better tires has finally bested Harvick, but is that the end? .23 of Wimmer, right on the back bumper of Biffle, trying to be patient with the leader. Almost got underneath of him in turn 3. Harvick is right on the bumper of Wimmer, so if Wimmer got underneath Biffle right now, you would assume that Harvick would also be able to retake the lead. Biffle trying to put another lap car in between him and the 20 of Harvick. That's the 08 of Johnny Sauter. But Harvick also gets past the 08. Wimmer still right on the back bumper of Biffle, playing patient with this 16. 6 laps to go here from Rockingham. The battle continues here in North Carolina. Harvick dropped off a lot. This is Wimmer's chance to get by without affecting the battle for the win. And he did force the 16 up. Question is how fast he gets by. And he did in quite a hurry. So 5 laps to go. There are now no lap cars between the 20 and the 16. But the question is if Harvick has enough speed to stay with Biffle. Jeff Gordon dead last in this race with damage. He's going to fall another lap down to the 16 car. We get you an update on Stewart, who is in the 10th position right now. And DJ Kennington's number 81, 18th. So looking like Stewart will pick up a handful more of championship points going into next week. It'll be Vegas, where we've seen championships decided before. Biffle and Harvick still deadlocked for the win with 3 laps to go. Do the lap cars play a factor? Harvick and Biffle, who have been first and second for almost the entirety of tonight's race, still first and second at the end of it. And the 16 holding serve. 2 laps to go here from North Carolina. Harvick with a chance to close some time with Biffle dealing with Truex. Does just that. And he is up to the back bumper. The question is, does he have anything for the 16? Down the front stretch, Biffle and Harvick. White flag is waving one more time around here from the rock. Biffle side by side with a lap car. Burton has a win already this year. It's been a duel between Harvick and Biffle all night long, but that duel is going forward. Greg Biffle in the 16 car, contact in front of him, doesn't matter. 16 is going to win it here at Rockingham after a fantastic battle between him and Harvick all night long, as Biffle is your winner. Stewart comes home in 10th, and DJ Kennington makes up one final position before this race is out. He will finish in the 17th position. Just a handful of points, but Stewart gains a little bit in the championship here tonight. And a good recovery drive from him after a terrible start to today's race. Found his way back into the top 10, but the story is the 16 of Biffle taking his second win of 2007. And him and Harvick absolutely controlled the show here tonight. That is going to do it here from Rockingham. Greg Biffle, 2 wins on the year for the 16 team. Roush definitely liking what they've seen over the course of this year from this 16 car, and Biffle once again proves why he got that contract extension, and he wins it here today from Rockingham. That'll do it for coverage from the Pop Secret 400. It's been Rockingham here tonight as we continue the championship hunt. Next week, it'll be Vegas for race number 33 of 36, the Checker Auto Parts 500. I've been your host, Caden Reif. It's been a pleasure to have you along as always. We will see you next week. And as always, have yourself a good one.